Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is, well, it's a Red Chill Cinema. We haven't done one since we did Men, and that feels like forever ago. So on this Red Chill Cinema, we're going to be doing something a little different, because Father's Day is coming up. Like, I think it's next month or something. So I guess we're a little ahead of the.
Every day is Father's Day.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what we're gonna do.
I forgot. We live in a patriarchy.
We're
Every
gonna
day
have
is Father's Day.
well, but we could, because we are pro patriarchy. That is, we
Yeah.
actually care about whether or not things benefit men,
Mhm.
not necessarily to the exclusion of women, but just consider that as a thing to think about.
Yeah.
We
Well,
could
for
make
sure.
Father's Day every day of the year,
Agreed.
and we could have a double Father's Day on what is it? The second Sunday of May?
Why not? Wait. Oh, you mean like the day after tomorrow, or the
No. It was the second Sunday of isn't like Mother's Day like the second Sunday of.
Yeah, it is. It is. Oh, so you're saying that could be another Father's Day?
Yeah,
So
we could
this
have a
is-
double Father's Day.
Yeah,
on
this
that.
is like a belated Empire Strikes Back of Father's Day, the second one.
Father's Day the second.
Yeah.
We'll have it the second Sunday of every May, and we can celebrate all of the men who have fought to be in their children's lives,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the men who've raised their children despite the
odds.
secondary partner. Yeah, no, yeah, despite the existence of the secondary partner.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
I'm sure
before
people are
so what
screaming
we're
at
going to
that.
be doing today, guys, is we're going to be looking at a couple of movies that have a very like good father and child relationship, or something along those, like around those lines. So it's basically celebrating fathers. The films may not like specifically be about fathers. They may not like make that a point, but you might find a really good relationship or a good model of a father and child relationship, for example. So, yeah, with that said, though, I think Allison has some spieling to do. So go ahead and spiel away.
Sorry, you caught me in the middle of a sneeze. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's sorted. All right. So we are doing our fundraiser, or we've opened our fundraiser, which we do every month. It is at feedthebadger.com/support. If you are able to help out, please do, because the only reason we continue to exist is because you guys find it in your hearts to want to hear about what we have to say every month. So please help us out, feedthebadger.com/support. If during the show you wish to send us a message, please do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Very important to send us tips because it helps me defray the cost of the Badger Cave, which, if you want to know specifically what it's going to, that is what it's going to.
Uh-huh.
So once again, that's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. All right.
Okay,
Let's get this started.
we're gonna get into okay. So these films are in no particular order. I didn't rank them because, first of all, it's gonna create a flame war in the comments, and I'm probably gonna be the subject of most of the flames because everybody's got different opinions. So instead, we're just looking at just trying not to think of them as a list. They're in no particular order. They're just good examples, and they're films that I have seen either like way back when they first came out, or I've seen them on like multiple times. And let me know if you guys have seen any of these. I will put ahead of a warning. I'm going to be showing some clips with these, and some of them will likely contain some kind of spoiler. So if you don't want to be spoiled, maybe I'll warn you before I play the clip, and then you can but most of these films are pretty old. They've been around for a while, so hopefully you've seen them by now, or you've decided whether or not you want to. So anyway, first, we're going to start with Allison's primary recommendation. Wrong. Sorry. That was... Okay, here we go. First, we're going to start with Allison's first recommendation, which is a film by Laika Studios called Kubo and the Two Strings. Now, Laika is they're a really great company. They do amazing work. The only downside is that they work in stop motion animation, and I mean like it's on a whole other level. But because of that, it takes them a very long time to make a film, and I think it costs them a lot of money, and they're not like as successful as say a Pixar or Disney. So it kind of, they end up not making a lot of movies, but they're really good. Like, just real quick, I love Paranorman. That's probably one of my favorites. And they did Coraline, which a lot of people know, and Box Trolls. But this one, Kubo the Two Strings, is like, it's probably like their best one. So, Alison, why did you pick this one?
Well, I actually picked this one because not only does it have a really nice relationship between the father and the son, which it's quite tragic when you watch it, but at the same time it's nice. They had a point where the father and how his style of raising his son was sort of in conflict with the mother's style of raising the son. And they didn't do the usual thing of saying the father was wrong. They in fact implied or showed that in this particular situation, the father was right in how he approached the Kubo's upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, the mother was very much wanting to protect her son from any possible danger, whereas the father wanted to, expand his horizons and allow him to challenge himself.
Yeah.
And they actually presented the father as correct, as opposed to the mother, which I sort of is a little bit surprising. It's not. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily controversial, and yet it seems like it is now. This idea that the way that men do things has a value in and of itself, even when it comes to raising children.
Mm-hmm.
The way that men approach problems, the way that men approach relationships with each other, the way that men approach goals, like that masculine way of thinking and acting has a value. And in particular has a value when it comes to raising children, which seems to be a really, really controversial concept.
Yeah.
And yet it's also obvious, because the single most, if there is any finding in sociology that has been consistent and incontrovertible, it's that not having fathers, children not raised by fathers, with fathers in the home, do significantly worse than children who are raised just by mothers. They do significantly worse. Mm-hmm. And in any normal, like if we were really following the science in terms of that, we wouldn't have any debate about it at all. In fact, we would be putting in place some kind of measures to make fatherlessness illegal.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like in other words, we would make it so that women cannot break the bond between a father and a child. They just can't. Mm-hmm. They legally can't. Mm-hmm. And the only time that the bond between a father and a child is broken is when they can prove to a criminal standard that father is an immediate danger to his child. And we don't have that. Yeah. As a result of these findings in sociology. And this is what, like I said, this is I think this might be the strongest finding in sociology. Like everything else might be is like a little bit of cause. You could say this, you could say that. Everything else has a bit of wiggle room. This doesn't have any wiggle room. This is black and white, guys. Mm-hmm. Black and white. There are no exceptions, in my opinion. Or if there are exceptions, they're vanishingly rare. But what really is when they say, all women are single mothers, they still raise, they don't all raise serial killers. So it can come out okay. But in general, you take the same child with a father in the home, helping mm-hmm. raise him, you are going to see significantly better outcomes, no matter what. Yep. And I know they try to wiggle room with like, there's fathers that are a detriment. I don't think that that's actually been a finding that's very strong.
No.
I mean, sure. Again, if the father that you've had a child with is a serial killer, then that might be an issue.
Yeah,
But generally, that's
but
not what the
then
case.
like you
Yeah.
have to ask like why did she have children with this man? So I'm not saying
Probably
it's
because
like
she's a
the
serial
woman's
killer.
fault every time, but the thing is that like yeah, I mean a bad man should be less likely to sire children, but um
That's not the
it comes
case.
back to like what do women reward
No, well, I mean,
with
statistically,
access?
they if young men are in a disadvantaged community where they can't find a way of having an income and being productive financially, statistically, they are better off going out and killing another man in terms of
Mm-hmm.
having reproductive access. And that's horrible. And usually that is also very much associated with fatherless homes
Yeah.
and communities that do not encourage or enforce fatherhood and don't allow fathers to be removed from their families on the whims of other people, or from their children's lives on the whims of other people. But anyway, that seems to be a really controversial statement. People will not allow you to say that, even
Yeah.
though sociology, once again, I think this is the most solid finding in sociology, is that fatherless children
Well,
have worse outcomes.
that's yeah, and we're gonna see that um that thing that you're saying, that supposedly non-controversial thing is actually it seems to be a theme in the films I chose. So let's start with this. I'm gonna give you a quick summary. So like Kubo is basically a hero's journey. The main character, his name is Kubo. He's a young boy whose life has been shrouded in darkness. It's sort of he has this kota, I think it's called, or it's like a guitar, but a lute, but it's Japanese, and it only has two strings. And he is on a quest with a monkey and a beetle, who's like a beetle man, and they're going to help him find these three pieces of armor to protect him from his grandfather, who stole one of his eyes so that he wouldn't so that he would be blind to humanity. It's very fairy tale-esque, but it's really well done. I don't want to give too much away.
Can I give a spoiler?
Huh?
Can I give a spoiler?
Sure.
A spoiler about the monkey and the beetle?
Yeah.
There's a reason why I pointed to this particular scene and said that it's the father and son. You know what? I'll leave it at that. I'll let you guys watch the movie to find out why I say that.
So the scene I picked here, the beetle, who is said to have been trained by Kubo's father, was a student of his, is teaching Kubo how to fish. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this scene. I might have to pause in the middle. It's only like a minute.
You'll have to pause every 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, now, take a deep breath. Clear your mind, because I got that part covered. Now draw back slowly. That's it. Close one eye. Guess you've got that part covered. Thompson.
All right, I'm just pausing it there for the banana. So
Yes.
Yes. So just so you know,
Okay,
like Kubo is missing an eye because his grandfather took it from him. That's why he's wearing an eye patch. And the beetle has no memory. That's why he's saying like, clear your mind. It's not a problem for me. So.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't spoil it.
And don't forget, this is stop motion. Okay.
Yeah, this is actually incredible in and of itself.
Yeah.
To see. Okay, let's keep going.
What is directly in front of you. Let everything else fall away. And release.
Hey! Perfect shot! Perfect shot!
Not bad. And what's your plan for getting the fish into the boat so we can actually
Okay.
eat it?
All right.
We just had to stop for the banana.
I know. It's been 20 seconds. I've been tracking it.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering. I like that. I'm sitting on this, and I don't know if I should say it because spoiler.
Guys, are you okay with spoilers? Have you seen Kubo and the Two Strings? Because, well, all I'll say is there's a reason why I'm showing this scene. That's
in the context of
huh?
In the context of fatherhood.
Yeah, in the context of fatherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it's good. So there's well, some people don't mind, it seems. I would watch it. I think it's really good.
Watch it.
So
I think we've given you enough to go on there.
I think so. Should I tell him?
No, let's watch it. Watch it if you haven't.
All right. Let's just watch a little bit more.
We'll reiterate it.
Okay.
We are showing you this in the context of fatherhood.
Yes.
Which is a spoiler, but.
Well, I said I was teaching him how to shoot, not fish. Fishing is tomorrow's lesson.
Give me that.
Whoa. Grab you, monkey.
Now try it.
Pull back and...
Okay, we got
All right,
a banana.
Huh?
We got a banana here. No,
Yeah,
I'm just saying we got a banana. Yeah, we got to do the
All
banana. All right.
The rope. It's a pretty good idea.
And you're not an awful shot.
Okay, now you are
So anyway, so that's Kubo and the Two Strings. I'm not going to give anything away, but I would watch it, especially the ending. I mean, I was so surprised at how unorthodox it was. Like, it didn't do what you thought. What?
And unorthodox, and for a child's like a current day children's film,
Yeah.
it had a lot of a message.
It was pretty
very
sophisticated and dark.
Yeah.
Like so I didn't mention this, but he's being hunted by his aunts, who are these twins, and they are really creepy. I mean, and it's really well done. That's all I will say. So.
And it contends with issues of mortality, which seems to be really unusual today.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a definite thumbs up for me. I think for Brian as well.
Absolutely. Kubo is a really good movie, and it's not one of those children's movies that adults couldn't get into. Obviously, he just killed two fish, so that's already kind of edgy.
Well, fish are basically just mobile vegetables, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't count.
But
I did want to say,
what was it? What was that?
No, before we do, you were the one who recommended Kubo to me.
I did?
I
think I did a while ago, yeah. Well, I think it's for the reasons you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's for the reasons you said. Especially because they do show the differences between the monkey and the beetle's, like, sort of parenting style, I guess you could say. And it's very appropriate, you know. It's not like one of them is always right and the other one's always wrong. So it's more like they have to learn to work together.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see the next one.
All right, so next we got Finding Nemo, which I mean,
classic.
That's what? Yeah,
classic from when Disney actually wasn't total.
Well, this is
crap.
Pixar, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Oh, Pixar, that's right.
Yeah, so
Okay,
Finding Nemo, I think, is like,
cringing.
it's a very, I used to, years ago, I was dating this girl. She was living with me, and she didn't like to watch horror movies or anything too scary, but I love horror movies, and sometimes we'd watch them. And in order for her to, like, come down from the horror movie, she would watch Finding Nemo. So we had the Blu-ray so that she could, like, recharge.
Just pop it in.
She couldn't handle it. Okay. I mean, so anyway, I think that everybody's seen this movie, but you never know. So so this is Finding Nemo. It's about there's a clownfish named Marlin, and he has a son named Nemo, and his son was the last egg in like a hatch, right? Like there was. Like, all the other eggs were killed, and there was just this last one, including the mother, I think. And that egg was damaged, so Nemo came out with, like, a little, like a fin that was really small and underdeveloped, so he couldn't swim as good as his, as a fish should. Anyway, so he's going to, like, fish school or something, and then something happens, Nemo ends up getting lost. And so his father, Marlin, is on a quest to find his son. And that's basically it. It takes place in Australia, and there's a lot of really great characters. Everybody talks about Dory. Personally, I like Bruce the shark, but, you know, because I think that they just handle the character really well. And also it's like some kind of tropical fish inside of a bowl that's voiced by Willem Dafoe. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? I mean, I actually have a sound clip from that. Hold on.
Yes, that's Nemo's mentor.
Yeah, it's sort of like his mentor, yeah.
Which is actually a really good secondary father.
Known as Sharkbait. Sharkbait. Ooh-ha-ha. Welcome, brother Sharkbait. Sharkbait. Ooh-ha-ha.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that whole scene where I'll just call him Defoe Fish. He initiates Nemo into this brotherhood, and it actually was based on tribal initiations of boys into being men. And it had the traditional, like, the female characters, including the starfish, whose name was Pat, I believe.
I think I remember that. Yeah, that's right. There was a starfish.
Yeah, and they were like, he's just a boy, and he was taken away from them.
Yeah, it was like being initiated into a men's club or frat or something.
Not actually specifically related to being in tribal initiations, manhood initiations. So to be taken away from the women and to face something that you're afraid of as sort of a clear marker between boyhood and manhood.
Yeah.
Or face some kind of trial of endurance or pain.
There's a scene in Flash Gordon where they do that on the Prince Baron's planet or moon.
Oh,
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but you ever seen the Flash Gordon movie from like 1980? You know, with the Queen soundtrack? Anyway.
No, it's not going to help. I said no.
All right. Well, it's campy, but it's freaking awesome. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Maybe we should review that one
I
day.
think Flash Gordon is fucking great. I love pulpy stuff. So, all right. But anyway, so this scene is where Marlin finds Nemo. This is like the end. So, or not the end, but like, you know, towards the end. And Dory is the blue fish there, voiced by Ellen DeGeneres. I forget what the Marlin's character is, but he's like a known actor that's been around for a while. I just forget his name. Anyway, let's do it.
Dory, where's Nemo?
There!
Oh no. Nemo!
Watching those fish move is funny.
Nemo? Nemo?
All right, I'm just pausing it there for the banana. So yeah, he basically.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Marlin was I guess the character development for the father in this is that in the beginning, because Nemo's the only surviving offspring, he's like, Marlin is super protective of his son, right? Like just to the point where, you know, it leaves Nemo kind of vulnerable. He doesn't know about the world. His father is just, because he doesn't want to lose him, is all he's got left, and even his his mate, I think, also died. So Nemo ends up, Marlin has to find his son, and throughout his journey, he kind of, I think he learns something about like being able to let his kid kind of, find their way. And of course, Nemo wanted that anyway, right? He wanted to go on a field trip or something. And that's kind of how all this started. So anyway, it's been a while, but let's keep going.
It's okay.
That's the egg from It's a Memory. So
Daddy.
that fish coughed. That's weird.
Dad, I don't hate you.
Oh, no.
Can you hear that okay?
I'm so sorry, Nemo.
See, that's his little gimpy fin.
I'm having trouble hearing it.
Really?
But I'm not sure
bump it up a little bit, because I think this video clip is low for some reason. Oh, I can turn on the closed captions. Oh, it's gonna be in Spanish though. God damn it. All right.
Spanish?
Yeah, they have Spanish subtitles for this video clip I found.
sea turtles? I met one, and he was 150 years old.
Okay, I think we need a banana.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
no.
did.
Okay,
So
150 years old sea turtles.
it's a very tender scene. What was that?
Oh, sea turtles are 150 years old.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Okay. Yeah, it is a very tender scene.
Yep.
Because Sandy Plankton said they only live to be 100.
Sandy Plankton? Do you think I would cross the entire ocean and not know as much as Sandy Plankton? He was 150, not 100. Who's the Sandy Plankton?
Don't they live like hundreds and hundreds of years?
Turtles?
Yeah.
Tortoises? Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aw. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, so this is where they get reunited. And I thought it was good, but like the whole movie is about a father. So you can't like leave that one out. It's kind of a no-brainer, Finding Nemo, but you know what I didn't get? And I should have put this in the list. I didn't put The Incredibles, which is another really good Pixar movie that features a father. But maybe we'll do that in the next. We'll do another one maybe, and include that.
Well, we'll keep doing this.
Yeah, we'll keep doing these. So
Yeah,
that's
we can,
Finding Nemo. Do
'cause,
you want to say anything else about this before I move on to the next one?
Well, Father's Day is like we'll do a month of Father's Day as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. You know, because the 26th, the 2nd, the 9th, and then the 16th. Right? That would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 5, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll do this. We'll revisit this because it's a topic that deserves being discussed.
Definitely. So I got a
And it's
super
good to see
chow.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
go
saw
ahead.
that. Well, it's just good to see, you know, what makes male characters interesting, and it's pretty much only male characters now. It used to be that you'd have a lot of interesting and varied female characters, but ever since the rise of wokeism, whatever.
I just call
you
it
know,
critical consciousness because that's kind of what it's all
critical consciousness.
based in.
Critical
Yeah, like
consciousness.
feminism, all that stuff. It's all critical consciousness.
Okay, well, ever since the rise of that, female characters are basically one-dimensional and disinterested. Like they don't have character arcs. There's no real perception of them as having any kind of agency.
Yeah.
I mean, real agency. People use the word agency, but I don't think they know what that word means.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how powerful you are, or how powerful you say you are, if your actions have no consequences that you have to take responsibility for. Agency is the consequences of your actions and you taking responsibility for them, and you being the consequences being ascribed to you. And that's what you don't see with female characters. You don't see a proper character arc, because when they do something bad, especially something bad to men, it's justified. So it can't be seen as a flaw. Like one of the big things when you learn about how to write a character arc is there are flaws, and then there are moral flaws. So a flaw might be being clumsy, or I don't know, having a scar, or having a limp, or something. You know, those might be physical flaws, or flaws that really don't impact anybody but yourself. If you want to have a character arc, you need a moral flaw, which means you have to look at your character and ask yourself, how is she hurting other people? Now you can if you're listening to this on this channel, I can hear your gears turning over that already. How can you have a character arc for a female character if you cannot look at a female character and ask yourself, how is she hurting other people? Now, and here's one of the big problems with that, when it comes to female characters. You have your female character versus a male character, right? You look at your female character and you ask yourself, how is she hurting other people? Now, for a female character, you have probably a much more restricted palette of harms that you can recognize that she does. Because you can't really work with harms done to men, because we don't really exist in that universe.
Yeah.
You know, we can't look at her in terms of how she treats men as something that is negative, because generally in current cinema, how a woman treats men is excused by, oh, she was something or other in her past by a man. Okay? It's never presented as a flaw of the woman, it's always presented as a flaw of men. So all of those consequences are deflected onto men. So the female character has how much that you can do in terms of that kind of characterization? Well, it's at least 50% restricted relative to male character.
Yeah.
You take the male character, you can talk about how he harms men, you can talk about how he harms children, you can talk about how he harms society, you can talk about how he harms women, you can talk a lot about that.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a whole gigantic spectrum of potential moral flaws to explore with men, which makes a gigantic tapestry of incredibly rich stories and forms of characterization. And you go back to the woman, and what can you really talk about? How much characterization can you really do? Almost none, comparatively. So it's like, you go to the woman and it's based, like, you go to the man, it's a gigantic buffet. You go to a woman and it's like a carrot stick. You're like, oh, that's great. And that's why male characters are more interesting. And that's why people would rather watch a male character.
Even when they're trying to, like, emasculate them, because they have to give them flaws, it actually makes them more interesting and intriguing. Yeah. It's not intended, but that's how it turns out.
They can make them overcome something inside themselves.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating. Everybody loves that.
For sure.
Honestly, that is a fascinating thing to watch, is a character overcoming a moral flaw that he has. So, I mean, look at the example of Velma. All right. Okay, so the character that's the most sympathetic and compelling, and a lot of people notice this, is Fred. Yeah. Because he actually is presented with a flaw. He starts to overcome it and develop past it, and he becomes a better person. It's like, well, everybody likes watching that, and everybody's going to sympathize more with a character who does that than a character who's presented as right from the very beginning, especially as a character who is a complete and utter sociopath, who's presented as right in every conceivable circumstance, even when she is so absolutely wrong, she should probably be doing time. Okay? So Fred becomes the most intriguing, the most interesting, and the most sympathetic character. And this is something that, me and Brian have talked about. That's what happens in a lot of these so-called woke films, is that despite trying to minimize the cis-het male character, or even the gay or bi male character, is what I've noticed. They are the straight men of gay people. Yep. They will, in trying to minimize those characters, they will still make them the only interesting, rounded, and compelling characters in the entire work. Because they cannot look at the other characters and ask themselves, how is this person hurting someone? In particular, it's difficult in the framework where every character is there because they're a category of victimization. They've been victimized in a certain way. That's diversity, right? You get all the victimhood categories. Well, if you define your character in terms of how they are a victim of others, it's extremely difficult to then turn around and define them in terms of how they victimize others.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're working under deficits. That's why in every single circumstances that I've seen, these people who are trying to create diversity manage to just create stories where the diversity characters end up being a flat, uninteresting backdrop to the male characters. Unless they really, really emasculate the male characters. And not just emasculate, but just totally gut them. Like, just turn them into scenery where they're not doing anything at all. Including not changing.
Yeah.
Okay, and in which case they make something unwatchable.
So I got 2 super chows. I want to read them and then we'll go on to the next movie, okay? So Ergo Proxy gives us $5 and says, a Goofy movie is a great father-son movie. The whole thing is about how they clash with differing goals and how they make up by combining them into a great conclusion. And the music was composed with this in mind too, featuring Michael Jackson. I've never seen a Goofy movie. I'm sorry. Maybe it was just a little. I was a little too old or something, but I never watched it, so maybe I should.
No, it was good. We could watch that. I could watch Flash Gordon,
Okay.
and you could watch.
I wouldn't say
Goofy
Flash
movie. Or
Gordon's
we could do
a
it-
fatherly movie, but it's a fun one.
Yeah, Goofy movie. There was another movie that I was thinking that we should have put on this list, but I do not remember the time.
Maybe
I
it'll
shouldn't
come
even
back to
brought
you,
it
or
up
maybe
'cause
I
I'm
already put
blank.
it on. Maybe.
Yeah, actually, I should review that.
So-
It'll probably come back to me if I review
Yeah,
the list.
thank you, Ergo Proxy, for the donation. And Meredith G gives us $5 and says, Red Chill Cinema, thanks for the cultural commentary. Thank you, Meredith. There were two other ones. They were from like the HBR talk yesterday. It doesn't say done afterwards, so I don't know if you guys read them and just didn't put that in or if you hadn't. But I'm going to leave those there and maybe maybe if they haven't been done, Hannah will do
I think
it next
I think they
Thursday.
were done, but I'm not sure the Maintaining Frame one was done.
Okay.
I don't know who it was from. It was called Maintaining Frame 49 Commentator, $5.
Oh.
I oddly like Allison's Doomsday or messages.
Oh, yeah.
I find a weird sense of peace when I hear it. Thanks for the calming message. Well, I mean, at least you'll know why. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? At least it's not coming out of left field. It's just and I think it makes more sense just to know that when a society decides to basically destroy all human relationships, that society is likely to be doomed.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And we could stop doing that because we have a pretty nice society, but of course, I don't know, I guess everybody wants to die now because of the climate change stuff.
Wow.
I guess that's what we're doing as a species.
We are the
Not
carbon
everybody,
they
but-
want to reduce, is all I will say.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't know why, because when you look at all the numbers, no offense, but the only way they're going to reduce carbon is by getting rid of
People.
90% of people? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the people who are so concerned about this,
Well, they're not on that list, obviously. They're not
Well,
in their
but why
heads
not?
anyway.
I mean, if they think that human life is so worthless, why don't they just start with themselves
Well,
and then the
that's-
rest of us can pick up?
Well, yeah, and it
Oh,
gets worse
why?
than that. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, This is genocidal thinking, is all I'm going to say. So anyway,
Oh yeah, but honestly, one of the things that I find sort of yes, it is genocidal thinking, and it's depressing. But on the other hand, it's almost something that we were going to inevitably have to deal with, because ever since World War I, we've got it in our gullet, got it in our craw that we can solve problems by killing a lot of people. It just seems to be something that comes up over and over again. Because it's
Yeah.
like World War I became this kind of deep psychological scar that we've been perpetuating throughout the generations, and the scar occasionally bubbles up, or often bubbles up, and says, we're having some issues with resources and our economy. Let's go kill a whole bunch of people. I think that's what we need to do. That is the solution, and I think it comes from that original genocide that started it all, which was World War I.
mm-hmm.
Almost entire generations of young men were gone. It's really horrific. But let's this is supposed to be positive, so let's do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is also a little off topic, but okay. So next on the list, this is from 1998. It's called He Got Game. It's one of Spike Lee's movies. So now we're not gonna. All of these are not gonna be animated. So don't worry if you're not into those kinds of things, okay? This is a 1998 drama of new hopes and second chances. There is the character on the right is named Jesus Shuttlesworth. It's not the Jesus, it's a Jesus. And I mean, when I say the Jesus, I'm talking about the guy from The Big Lebowski, obviously, not the Son of God. The only son of Jake Shuttlesworth, Denzel Washington, on the left, a single father stuck in a New York penitentiary for the accidental killing of the mother of his boy. Jake's prodigious talent for basketball could now secure his father an early release from prison if he convinces him to sign for the prison governor's preferred college team. And once you've swallowed that admittedly far-fetched premise, you can savor Lee's raw and riveting portrayal of a father-son relationship that becomes strained beyond sanity. So this is like the culmination of the movie where they have a duel on the basketball court. and the son, he knocks his father down like to score a goal, and now they're basically having an argument or an impassioned discussion. So I'm gonna play this clip.
Maybe you can stop hating me so I can bring your mother back. Maybe we can start being father and son again now. Huh? Can we
ain't
do
my
that?
father.
Let me tell you something. You look out for yourself. You look out for your sister. You ain't got to worry about me no more.
I'm just pausing it there for the banana. Just so we don't like. It's a pretty like. I think it's a pretty good movie, and it again, you have this man, the father. He finds himself, unfortunately, in prison for an accidental murder, I guess, or killing, and his son feels estranged and doesn't want anything to do with him, and the father is just like, I just, you don't have to talk to me, we don't have to be involved, but I want you to just be a good man, be better than I was, basically.
But you get that hatred out your heart, boy, or you're gonna end up just another nigger, like your father.
Demonetized.
Yeah, well, I mean, Denzel said it. It's okay. I mean, like, I didn't say it, YouTube. Denzel Washington said it.
Sure, boy.
Well, Jake, I think it's time for all of us to go back home.
So these are the cops that are basically going to take him back to prison. Notice this. I forgot to mention. I'm going to point at the guy with the glasses, the bald black guy there. That's Jim Brown. He died today. This guy. I don't know if you guys know.
Wow.
He was a football player, and then he did blaxploitation films, and then he was just an actor. He's known for. Well, I know him from movies like The Running Man, where he played like I forget, the Fireball. I think he was like one of the hunters, and he was in Mars Attacks, playing a kind of nod to his old blaxploitation days. But yeah, Jim Brown, football player, very very famous guy, and a pretty vocal like after he retired. But yeah, he passed away today. So R.I.P. Jim Brown.
Well, Jake, I think it's time for all of us to go back home.
Okay?
No, Jake. Turn around.
All right. So I know it's not showing a lot, but I guess look at it like there's a man, he's a father, he wants to do what he can for his son. His son seems to hate him, but he's going to do his best anyway. And I guess this is sort of like speaking to the whole like thing about men want to be involved with their children. And sometimes it's the wife that keeps them away. Sometimes there's other factors.
Mistakes they made that, if they had been women, they probably would have been forgiven.
Yeah.
But so what was the conclusion of this? Is this the end of the film or?
So, okay. Jesus, the son, is surrounded by vultures keen to horn in on his impending success. While Jake stands to win his life back, he is not one of them. So he's not one of the people that's trying to prey on this young, talented basketball player who was actually played by a basketball player named Ray Allen. The pair's rivalry culminates in a duel on the basketball court, with each man effectively playing for his freedom. Although in pushing and goading his offspring one last time, Jake is also invested in his own failure, because it means Jesus will have grown into the man he'd always hoped he would be. Everything you got from me, Jake reminds him. but Jesus is able to go further than his father ever could. It's a classic passing the torch moment, but this film makes you feel the flames. So it's like I said, the father doesn't have access to his son. He doesn't have his son's love, but he tries to his best to be a father nonetheless. And and it does help. The boy becomes like, you know, a professional athlete and a star. So I think it's very sweet, because there's a lot of fathers who just, they don't have, like, they're not involved. But you can even see then how important, at least that's what Spike Lee was trying to say with this, was that, you know, like, even if you don't have, like, your son in your life, or you're not in your son's life, you can still have a positive impact.
Still make a difference.
Yeah, you can still make a difference, right? So
Yeah. And I've seen that with custody cases.
Yeah.
Where the father just keeps fighting, or he gets cut out, and then he only has access when the kid is a lot older. And but he does what he can. Like, there was one girl that I knew a long time ago, and a couple cities ago, where her father fought to have custody over her for years and years and years. And she said it was just, you know, she watched how he tried to father her from a distance, because the mother was apparently not a great person, shall we say.
Yeah.
And how he tried to try to mitigate that from outside of the situation, and tried to protect his daughter from the mother, and his sons from the mother, without having any direct ability to do so. And he never gave up on that. Now, this is a different situation, because no doubt he's in jail, presumably. Oh wait, it's because something that he was charged with, but he was innocent of?
It was an accident. He was he had to serve time, but it was an accident. He didn't mean to kill the woman.
Okay, all right. So it was if it wasn't like it was like a negligent homicide, or
no, it was accidental. Let me see. Hold on.
Because if it's real, okay.
It was an accidental killing. So
okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's like a manslaughter, maybe.
Yeah, like a manslaughter, right?
Okay. Well, regardless, you know, it could have been some accident. Maybe he was railroaded, whatever. He's not in his child's life, but he's trying to be a father for him from the distance. And that's something that resonates with, I think, a lot of men who are trying to keep their spirits up when they're no longer allowed to be in their children's lives. You know, you don't know the kind of effect you'll have, even if it's at a distance. So keep trying.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you have to, maybe you need to take a break or work on yourself. That's fine too. But you never know how it's going to end up.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's He Got Game. Check it out. It is a Spike Lee movie, so you know there's like he has a certain style that you know, maybe it's not to everyone's taste. All right, so next we got. Well, I have a super chat, so let me read the super chat.
Yeah, and also you might need to get going here pretty quick.
Yeah, I think I can do one more, and then we can I'll do that. Well, unless you want unless I can do a short. I can do a shorter patron show instead, and just go another half hour.
Because we've been discussing these for 20 minutes. I think this one is gonna push it over, especially since it's for To Kill a Mockingbird. So maybe we can discuss the summary and
all right,
have more of it next time.
Okay, so I got a super chat from Master Rogue. He gives us $10. Thank you, Master Rogue. And he says, "A Monster Calls is a good one. A tree acts like a father figure. The actual dad isn't a moron or a deadbeat, and it's about a boy coming to terms with his mom's inevitable death." A Monster Calls. I've never heard of it. I'll look it up. Thank you, Master Rogue. Appreciate that. And so should I just do part of this one? So
why don't we do let's give this is I guess a preview of what we will be talking about next, which will be.
So we're gonna be doing more of these. Next is To Kill a Mockingbird. Most people think of this movie as like a courtroom drama, but there is a father and daughter relationship that's also a big central part of the story, with Atticus Finch and his daughter Scout. So I could play this 1-minute clip, or we could just tell you what to do this next time, or whenever we do this again.
Well, let's look at a bit of it. Let's play it.
But if I keep going to school, we can't ever read anymore.
Scout, you know what a compromise is?
Bending the law?
Pausing there for the banana.
Yep, let us banana this.
Okay, this is banana.
Banana. Hey, you know what we should get?
What?
The Minions saying banana.
Oh, banana.
Wait, we can't.
Yeah. God. Speaking of Minions, I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie yesterday. It was good. I was pleased. It wasn't deep, really, but it was good. Well, it was about brotherhood, which I guess should be obvious. And the reason why I said the Minions reminded me of it was because it was done by the same animation company that does the Despicable Me franchise. So, also kind of surprising because I wasn't super impressed by the animation of Despicable Me compared to like Pixar and DreamWorks, but yeah, they're coming up because Mario Brothers was pretty good. So, all right. Anyway,
It's an agreement reached by mutual consent. Now, here's the way it works. You concede the necessity of going to school. We'll keep right on reading the same every night.
all right. So that he's compromising with his daughter on something.
Just as we always have. Is that a bargain?
There just didn't seem to be anyone or anything Atticus couldn't explain. Though it wasn't a talent that would arouse the admiration of any of our friends, Jem and I had to admit he was very good at that.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm guessing he made a compromise with his daughter to continue to go to school.
He made a deal with his daughter, but he is supposed to be like a very good example. I'll just read like the summary I have here. Has there ever been a more fundamentally decent father in the history of cinema than Atticus Finch, the widower and small-town lawyer played by Gregory Peck in Robert Mulligan's glorious adaptation of Harper Lee's great American novel To Kill a Mockingbird? Defending a young black man on a rape charge doesn't make you a popular man in Depression-era Alabama, but while Atticus has his safety threatened and his good name besmirched, he only grows in stature in the wide-open eyes of his children, Jem and Scout. Mulligan's film might lose some or most of Scout's first-person narration from the original book, because the book is a little bit different, but there's no question we're seeing events unfold from a child's perspective. In the tense confrontation in which Atticus is spat on near the house of his client, he's as low as we've ever seen him in film, both professionally and personally, but to his young son, looking in terror from the car, his father has never been taller. So he's an inspiring figure despite everything. And what makes it doubly interesting is that he is defending another man who is being like essentially condemned for raping a white woman, I think. It's been a while, but so you guys get that? Yeah, Atticus was the man.
Unfortunately, I think Harper Lee succumbed to the desire to just sort of destroy everything she created, because she then turned around and wrote Go Set a Watchman, which, I don't know, Atticus is working with the Klan and other stuff like that. Yeah, Yeah, it was a controversial follow-up.
Is that like a book that she wrote after this one?
Yeah, that's a book she wrote after this one. And okay, so essentially this says, from Harper Lee comes a landmark new novel set 2 decades after her beloved Pulitzer Prize-winning masterpiece, To Kill a Mockingbird. 26-year-old Jean Louise Finch Scout returns home from New York City to visit her aging father Atticus. Jean Louise's homecoming turns bittersweet when she learns disturbing truths about a close-knit family. Boy, howdy. The town and the people dearest to her. Memories from her childhood flood back, and her values and assumptions are thrown into doubt. So basically, she deconstructed her own book.
What?
Yeah, featuring many of the iconic...
It seems like that book, whatever that book is, nobody... Like, that one's clearly not as renowned, I don't think.
Okay, no. Featuring many of the iconic characters, blah, blah, blah. In a painful yet necessary transition out of the illusions of the past, a journey that can be guided only by one's conscience.
Painful but necessary?
Parts of fuller, richer understanding and appreciation of Harper Lee. Of the author? Not the author's creation? Here is an unforgettable novel of wisdom, humanity, passion, humor, and effortless precision.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievable. Well,
yeah.
We'll always have this book.
But we'll always have this book, Death of the Author.
Yeah. Look it up, guys. Harper Lee. Well. Check it out.
Yeah.
Wild.
Okay. All right. So
we will. I guess we'll stop it here. But I do have a number of other movies that I think you guys will like. And
I appreciate.
Yeah, I think you will. So we went through 4. That was 4. Yeah.
Yep.
So
4.
I'll do this, okay? When you guys go into the comment section.
Compromise?
When you guys go into the comment section.
Are we compromised?
What?
I said, are we compromising? Are we making a compromise?
We're kind of compromising, but I wanted to do this anyway. I want to know what movies or books also that you think are really good, positive examples of fathers and fatherhood. I would say that I prefer that they were actually their father, but if it's like an older brother or, a father figure, I guess that's okay too. But I think that I think we can narrow it down to fathers and have plenty of content already. So yeah, let us know what you guys think. What stories do you think of or movies that have really good examples of fatherhood, very positive, fatherly, models, and why? Because maybe you'll have something that's a little bit off the beaten path, and you might need to explain a little bit. So let us know. I'm looking forward to seeing your comments, and maybe we'll pick some of those and talk about them in the next installment of this series, I guess. So
yeah, sure. Yeah, next time we approached Red Chill Cinema, we'll continue on this thread of father positive media. Also, I'd like to remind you we are doing our fundraiser for the month, or at least it's open now. So please go to feedthebadger.com/support to make sure that these shows keep coming, because they're pretty unique and I want to see them continue. And also, if you have a comment that you want us to address at any time after this show is aired, you can go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip and send us a comment and a tip. If you like this show, you want to see this kind of show again, very much appreciated if you'd send a comment that way. Once again, that's feedthebadger.com/justtip and just the tip. Not just a tip. Just the tip. Just the tip. Okay, back to you, Brian.
All right. So if you guys like this video, please smash like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys just liked about the video, or what you thought about what we talked about. And if you want to also make a recommendation, or you want to maybe you have watched a very obscure independent film that you don't think a lot of people saw that is a really good example of this and you think we should see, please let us know, because I totally like to see something like that. And please share this video, because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Red Chill Cinema, and we will talk to you all in the next video.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.